All right, welcome back to Between the Classes Sports. It's Yusuf the Guru Khan, and I got
Tim Hawthorne.
Big Gators fan, Hurricane. So we're dissecting the game a little more. We're gonna talk about the three biggest happenings in the game. We got 10 sacks allowed by Miami. We got the muff punt in the third quarter that gave a touchdown to Florida, and then we also have the fake punt that Florida ran in the first quarter that helped them get a touchdown to start off.
What?
So out of all these three, we're trying to give us, the reason why Miami might have lost, the biggest reason. And I'll go ahead and start it off. I'll start it off with the punt. The 10 sacks are huge, but they were throughout the game. They sort of overcame that. It didn't cost them, maybe just on the last drive really. But the fake punt totally turned the momentum. They stopped Florida's offense. They were getting the ball back. And Jeff Thomas, number 4, usually pretty sure-handed. He's going to be an NFL talent one day. But anyway, he fumbled the ball inside the 20-yard line. Florida capitalizes immediately. They score the touchdown. They take the lead. Now, Miami did come back and score a touchdown to, bring it back to, leading. But I think that was a huge momentum shift in the game. And the other one was pretty big too. But I'll let Tim, give his piece on what he thought.
So I have to say the 10 sacks to me was the biggest factor in the whole game. The reason why is if you watch Miami's offense to begin with, like you had said earlier, they had scripted plays. They totally knew what they were coming out with, and they kept Florida's defense off balance for a little bit. And like you had mentioned last week, you actually were on cue when you said that Miami's offense was going to use their big tight ends. They did use their tight ends over the middle, like you said, and that actually was huge for their offense. They were moving the ball around a little bit, but ultimately what happened was once they started throwing the ball around, Florida's defense, Zuniga, was all over the quarterback all game. They took 2 guys on him. Next thing you know, the other side of the defensive line was attacking him. That poor quarterback had no chance. They were all over them all game. So ultimately they had a wide open, kind of a more wide open style to begin the game. Then they had to bring a running back in. They had to kind of press down everything. So their offense was not much of a threat at that point, because ultimately you were pass protecting at that point because their offensive line could not stop that defense.
Yeah, and then, just bringing up Jeff Thomas again, not just singly that play, but there was also a moment in the fourth quarter where he could have had a touchdown, and he dropped it. I mean, it would have been a hard catch, but that would have put him up 2 scores. He drops that, guess what happens? Field goal kicker comes out, he misses the field goal.
Shank!
Guess what happens at the end of the game? They're down by 4. If he had made the field goal, they would have been only one field goal to win. So that Jeff Thomas missed touchdown, he really messed up the game in 2 places, in my opinion. And he can overcome that. I'm not blaming the whole game on him. No. But yeah, that's the way I feel at least, and I know a lot of Miami fans did too.
Yeah, that first big one was that fumbled punt return was huge. It was huge. So like we said earlier, but unfortunately it became the U chain, or the turnover chain became turnover pain, and I felt bad for him almost, but maybe not. Sorry, it was beautiful.
And just the one thing about the sacks too, the coaches have come out and said a few of them have actually been on the QB, not just the offensive line. 2 of them were just actually 1-yard losses that he ran out instead of just throwing it out of bounds. And the offensive coordinator actually blamed 5 sacks on him, so half the sacks. He said he needs to either get rid of it or just tuck it and run. So, he's a young QB. He's going to learn. Offensive tackles are young. Florida has some talent at the defensive end position. Like you said, Zuniga, and they also had a transfer from Louisville, Bernard or something. He had a really good game. So, and then they were blitzing too in the second half when they saw that opening come up, because Miami was running pretty decent, but they didn't have enough time to really run the game. The running back had like 95 yards on 12 carries. I know one was on a big 50-yard run, but they were running, pretty good. So it was, they definitely wanted to bring the pressure to the QB. All right, we'll be back.